She toyed with my love, so I took back the ring and left her with the punchline. The dim light of Cactus Lounge, a half-empty comedy club on a Thursday night, flickered against the peeling brick walls. The air smelled like stale beer, burnt nachos, and broken dreams, the perfect stage for Ethan Kane. A 29-year-old stand-up comedian whose career was stuck somewhere between almost there and nowhere at all. Ethan stood at the edge of the stage, his palms sweating against the mic stand, a bead of sweat rolling down the side of his face. His jokes landed softer than a marshmallow on carpet, one polite chuckle from a table in the back, maybe two forced smiles from a couple trying too hard to enjoy their date night, but then she walked in. Samantha Hayes, long legs wrapped in tight black jeans, her smile a weapon, her phone always in hand, live streaming her every move to her 1.2 million followers. She radiated confidence, the kind born from knowing you were admired by strangers and envied by friends. Ethan didn't know who she was, not yet, but she knew exactly who Ha was. He saw her for the first time mid-punchline, her phone lifted like a third hand, her face framed perfectly by her screen as she filmed her entrance. And him. The spotlight hit her just right, and for a moment, Ethan thought maybe his luck had changed. "Hey, you were kinda funny," she said after his set, her smile wide enough to make him forget every insult the audience had silently thrown at him. Her voice was sweet, but her eyes were scanning him like a checklist. Potential content, potential boyfriend, potential storyline. Their story kicked off like a modern-day fairy tale. D-list comedian meets A-list influencer. Ethan, desperate for validation, mistook her attention for affection. Samantha, addicted to engagement, not the ring kind but the comment section kind, saw Ethan as her next project. Her fixer-upper boyfriend, content gold. They were fire and gasoline, intoxicating at first, until the flames grew too big to control. At first, Ethan felt like the luckiest man alive. Samantha introduced him to brunches where food was more about photos than flavor. She took him to brand parties where nobody remembered his name but all followed hers. She even got him a few thousand followers who liked his jokes only if Samantha appeared in the punchline. It started with harmless pranks. At least Ethan thought so. She'd hide under the bed to catch his reaction when she jumped out, screaming. She accidentally went live while he sang in the shower. She filmed him sleep-talking after a late gig, editing in cartoon bubbles with embarrassing captions. Ethan laughed with her at first. This is just how she loves, he told himself. She was playful, spontaneous, unpredictable, everything his quiet, awkward life lacked. But pranks escalated into content harvesting. The night Ethan bombed at an audition for a TV comedy slot, a chance he'd been chasing for years, Samantha filmed his post-rejection breakdown. Tears streaming, hands shaking. Ethan had no idea the camera was rolling until the next morning when the video hit 3 million views. The caption? Even funny guys cry sometimes. Raw, Yash relationship goals. The comments were brutal. OMG, poor guy, but LOL the way he cries. At least you're the famous one, Sam. Ethan wasn't a person anymore, he was content. And the worst part? He let her. His friends noticed first. She's using you, man. You're her sidekick, not her partner. You're the punchline, dude. But Ethan was addicted, not just to Samantha, but to moi being seen. Even if the attention came at the cost of his dignity, at least people were looking. For a guy who'd spent most of his life performing for empty rooms, any audience felt like a gift. The proposal wasn't romantic, it was strategic. If I put a ring on her finger, Ethan thought, maybe she'll take me seriously. Maybe I'll become her partner, not her prop. He rehearsed the speech a dozen times in front of his bathroom mirror, the ring box sweaty in his pocket. The night he proposed, Samantha wasn't even looking at him. She was looking at her phone, making sure the angle caught her good side. Ethan knelt on stage at a small open mic she'd dragged him to. She gasped, the kind of gasp perfectly timed for a viral clip, and the crowd erupted in cheers, phones raised, everyone capturing their authentic moment. The ring slid onto her finger and Samantha's phone went live. "Say yes!" Her followers spammed the comments. She did, with a squeal rehearsed enough to sound spontaneous. The kiss tasted like staged perfection. Ethan should have felt happy. Instead, he felt exposed. Not just to Samantha, to everyone. Millions of strangers who would never know the jokes he'd written at 3 a.m. or the way he doubted every punchline before daring to speak it aloud. All they'd know was the clueless groom. To the internet's favorite influencer, the cracks grew into fault lines. The wedding planning became a content series. Say yes to the stress, Influencer Bride Edition. Ethan's opinions were reduced to punchlines. His tux? A joke. His vows? Edited down to a 15-second reel complete with sound effects. "Babe, tell them your joke about the dress," she'd shout mid-livestream, shoving her phone in his face. Ethan forced a smile, his jokes increasingly blurred with bitterness. Crowds at his shows loved the stories about his influencer fiancé, exaggerated, of course, but rooted in truth. Samantha pretended to laugh when she attended, but her eyes sharpened every time Ethan's jokes hit a little too close to reality. The final straw was the roast of Ethan Kane, a surprise engagement party Samantha planned. Ethan walked into what he thought was a small dinner. Instead, every influencer Samantha knew was gathered, cameras ready, all eager to roast him. His career, his looks, his lucky catch engagement to Samantha, nothing was off limits. Each insult cut a little deeper, the laughter blending into white noise. Ethan laughed too, because that's what comedians do. They laugh through the pain. But something inside him snapped. That night, Samantha slept soundly beside him. Phone still clutched in her hand, her inbox overflowing with laughing emojis and heart-eyed comments. Ethan sat in the bathroom, the engagement ring cold between his fingers. The bathroom mirror reflected a man Ethan barely recognized, slumped shoulders, dark circles under eyes too tired to fake another smile. This wasn't love, this was a storyline. The ring wasn't a promise, it was a prop. He could see the future, wedding live-streamed, vows written by brand sponsors, his identity erased by her need for perfect optics. Every fight would be posted, every apology monetized. Ethan realized love hadn't made him better, it had made him invisible. He'd spent his life chasing laughs, but the biggest joke was him. The next morning, Samantha woke up alone. The ring was gone from her finger. Ethan was gone from her feed, and for the first time in a long time, he could finally hear his own voice. Not her comments, not the crowd, just him. The decision to leave didn't hit Ethan all at once. It was a slow burn, a creeping, quiet realization that settled in his bones. It was in the moments between takes when Samantha would pause a kiss to check her angles, in the silences after laughter, when Ethan would wonder if her smile was for him or for the likes. By the time it fully formed, it wasn't a choice anymore. It was survival. Ethan disappeared for a week. No texts, no calls, no explanations. Samantha's content pivoted into missing fiancé posts, milking sympathy from her followers like a pro. "Pray for us." Captioned under a black and white selfie, tears perfectly smudged, lighting soft enough to glow but not too soft to hide the contouring. But Ethan wasn't hiding. He was writing. One final set. Not for applause, not for brand deals. For himself. The night of the show. The Lantern Club was packed. Word had spread. Ethan Kane's mysterious comeback. No cameras allowed except the club's own. Of course, Samantha was there. Front row, phone in hand despite the rules, already live streaming before the mic even warmed up. Her smile was tight, but her eyes flickered with curiosity. Was this his comeback? or her content. Ethan stepped on stage, the spotlight slicing through the dark. His hands didn't shake this time. His breath was steady, the weight in his chest gone. "No jokes tonight," he said. "Just a story." And he told them. He unraveled their love story, thread by frayed thread. The meet-cute under cheap bar lights, the whirlwind romance sped up for clicks, the pranks that started as innocent chaos and morphed into humiliation for views. He told them how it felt to wake up and realize you weren't someone's partner, you were someone's punchline. The room was silent, the air thick. No polite chuckles, no whispered side conversations, just people listening. Really listening. Samantha's phone drifted lower in her hand. The filters couldn't smooth the flush in her cheeks or the flicker of panic in her eyes. This wasn't a viral stunt. This was real. And the best part? Ethan held up the engagement ring, the same one he'd slid off her finger that morning while she edited a sponsored vlog for some teeth-whitening kit. "I'm taking it back." He slid the ring into his pocket. A gasp rippled through the crowd, followed by a stunned silence. "And I'm leaving her with the punchline." The screen behind him lit up, a pre-recorded video Ethan had stitched together during his week away. Clips of Samantha's pranks cut with his real, unedited reactions, the laughter after the cameras cut, the pain behind the forced smiles, the nights he stared at the ceiling, wondering if the real Ethan existed anymore, or if he'd become nothing more than content. "You always said I needed better content," Ethan said, his voice clear, "so I made you some." The video ended on Ethan, sitting alone, holding the ring, staring into the lens, unfiltered. Sometimes the funniest joke is realizing you're not the joke. The crowd erupted, not in laughter but applause, real applause. "For him," Samantha stormed out, phone back up, filming her own exit, fake tears in full bloom. Ethan stood there, the spotlight warm on his skin, the ring a little lighter in his pocket. He didn't need the punchline anymore, because for the first time, he was the headline. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more watching videos.